Hi, everyone, and welcome to a Casper-free episode of Marketing Corner. Feels a little bit weird. I am without Casper because he couldn't come to Sassius, but I am not alone. I'm here with Birte Steen, founder of Rock Consulting and a Verdane GTM advisor. And we're going to talk about something really, really exciting today. Hi, Birte. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Jennifer? Really good to be here.
And this is our first episode. No pressure.
Exactly. Setting the bar.
You're setting the bar super, super high. But we're here to talk about something that's really, really close to your heart and something that has kind of transformed how I think about marketing. And that is the Bowtie funnel.
Yeah.
So before we dive into that really exciting topic, which I know you're really excited about because it's kind of your passion.
Maybe too excited.
Maybe too excited. Let's see. Maybe you could first introduce yourself a little bit about who you are, your background, and why we're here today.
Absolutely. So, I've been working now 20 years within B2B SaaS. Of course, coincidence took me into it. I started in Meltwater as one of the few first hires in 2004. Stayed in that company for 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when I left in 2015, we were 1,500 people in 53 offices in 27 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were just handling $100 million in ARR.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know a thing or two about growth.
Yeah, so I learned a lot from that journey, right? And after Meltwater in 2015, I stayed in scale-ups ever since.
Right.
So it's all and everything I know.
Okay.
2 years ago, I started my own consulting firm just to keep doing what I've always done, operationally, just more in the shape and form of an advisor, so I can tap into more companies and be exposed to more scale-ups, because I love the scale-up phase so much. I want to just stay there.
Okay, what
forever.
is it you love about it so much?
It's just that, there's so much potential out there, so many fantastic companies, so many brilliant founders out there that are out to solve important problems. And there's so many really, really good products being developed, but there's a lacking understanding often of the go-to-market capabilities needed, especially to set the foundation to scale. And since I've been lucky enough to be inside of this for so many years and seen all the criteria and milestones that you just have to nail, and also all the mistakes, I think that it's really the mistakes I've learned the most from.
Yep.
And be on both sides of those mistakes, actually absolutely being part of making the wrong decisions, but also seeing that it's actually the same result every time.
Jocko van der Kooi, who's also going to be on the podcast, he said this really great thing where he said, yes, every human body is different, but to a doctor who's seen so many bodies, it's the same problems. You know what each body is capable of, and you know what to do. So even though everything is a little bit different, like every scale up is somewhat different, when you look down to the literal bare bones, there's a lot of similar problems and a lot of similar paths they can go down. And having 20 years of experience, you could probably be a really good doctor to help diagnose and fix things.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like I saw this program of a surgeon saying that you can read about surgeries, but you can't really do it without the knife. Yeah. And having had the knife in your hand. A little bit brutal, but it's a little bit the same. That I've been on the dance floor doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm still so passionate about it, and to be able to go in and experience and just share those experiences and help out, it's just, I'm having
a blast.
Having so much fun. And I get to work with Verdane and some other really cool private equity companies, and tapping into the portcos is just a privilege. Definitely. I'm very thankful for that opportunity.
And we're thankful for you.
Thank you so much. And really cool to be here to just keep talking about what's so
important. And let's get into it, because I think what we're trying to do with this podcast is we're trying to support at scale. We're trying to share best practice. We're trying to help our companies grow and succeed, because if they succeed, we succeed. So it's a win-win.
Yes.
So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about, let's talk a lot about the Bowtie funnel. Yeah. And maybe you can introduce sort of the problem, I guess, that we had with the traditional funnel. One of the things I like to say in my talks is that the traditional funnel was invented almost 200 years ago, and we're still using it.
Yeah.
So I'm all about this evolution of the Bowtie, or the evolution of the funnel, to kind of go with technologies and how times have changed, because 200 years ago we didn't have TV, we didn't have radio, and we're still using the same kind of high-level methods. So let's talk a little bit maybe about why traditional funnels didn't work and why the kind of stage was set for this bow tie.
Yeah. The good thing is that the traditional funnel is very well established.
Yes.
And it's very much relevant, but it's just telling half of the story. And the bow tie is innovated by Jacko. That's coming.
He'll be on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
The OG. Yep.
Yes, exactly. So, but it's in a recurring revenue business with a recurring revenue business model. The funnel does not start at the stop at the commit stage or at the close deal. Right. So it's really where it continues and where the recurring revenue business is differentiating itself from other types of business models, because it's you need to focus on, in the first two stages of the bow tie, you have the awareness phase, you have the education phase, then you go into the selection phase where the sales team lives.
Yes.
And you have these different conversion rates throughout there, the time metrics and the volume metrics. But it's all about finding the ideal customer profile and really following it to make sure that we can deliver on the impact that we're promising.
Yes.
And you measure that on the right side of the bow tie. With the onboarding stage, you have the renewal stage and the expansion stage. And what we want is to really see that increasing revenue pattern.
Yes.
The biggest reason for churn is bad onboarding. So you really need to measure, out of all the deals you close, how many do you onboard, in what time, like the time to first value, so that they renew, and we reach like the ultimate point, which is the expansion phase, that they adopt and they're interested in seeing more opportunities within the platform, just because we delivered on the impact that we promised on the left side of the bow tie.
Exactly. The ICP is right, the offering is right, the product market fit is there, and the onboarding was successful.
Yeah. And then you get that compounding revenue effect, where every year they're renewing to higher ARR. And that becomes a more important driver of growth eventually in a more grown-up company than the acquisition side.
Exactly. And from an investor point of view.
Absolutely.
It's the right side of the bow tie. That's really interesting. Yeah.
So, and what we want is to make sure that throughout the whole bow tie, we have all the KPIs from lead through, awareness, education, selection, onboarding, renewal, and expansion. All the KPIs throughout the whole revenue lifecycle is following the customer journey.
Yes.
And the conversion rates and the time metrics. When we have the bow tie, we can measure all of those data points. We can actually align marketing, sales, and client success so that we're speaking the same language. We're defining our reality in the same way.
Right.
And we can tap in to see where in the bow tie do we have our weaknesses, right? Where are the conversions weaker? Where can we make improvements? And where are our strengths that we need to keep focusing on and emphasizing and keep doing?
Yep.
And as long as you have that alignment throughout the go-to-market functions, we can go back to our seats, right, and be aligned.
Yes.
And it's the
elusive alignment.
Exactly. And then when you have on the right side of the bow tie, that is really where the definition of the ideal customer profile lives and is defined. Those clients that show that revenue pattern.
Yes.
And the attributes of those clients, that's your ICP.
Yes.
And that information needs to be flywheeled back to marketing and sales so that they keep fueling in that type of client. I've been helping this company that where I've talked to the client success leader who told me that I don't know the definition of our ICP in the sales team.
Yes, I was going to say, because this is something that I've encountered in previous roles, right? Marketing has an ICP, sales have an ICP, CS have an ICP.
And product has
an ICP. Like, who we're product building for. Well, and I think maybe if we can go back a little bit to sort of the problems that this is aiming to solve, right? And for the folks at home to visualize, you take your traditional funnel, you put it on its side, and then that's the left side of the bow tie. So that's your awareness and creating the pipeline, and then you get it to close. And usually, so this is one of the things that I call the NMFP, not my freaking problem.
Yeah.
I did my job.
Yeah.
It's closed. Now, and it kind of starts from the marketing side, right? Marketing, we hit our targets. NMFP, there you go, sales. And sales say, well, these are terrible, but I have to hit my targets. So they make these customers fit one way or another. And then they say NMFP, not my freaking problem. Here you go, CS. And then CS have a bad fit customer who's going to churn. And all this effort has been put in for nothing. So the Bowtie is here to make sure that we focus on the right things and make sure we align, as you've mentioned, make sure that we have metrics in place that can really show, are we doing the right thing together, and kind of break down those silos. And I think
and you can really see the effects of what we're doing in marketing, and you can follow the effect of that all the way into client success.
Exactly.
Right. So everything it works as a system, and it all's interconnected. And what you just said, I mean, there's many examples of misalignments throughout the whole Bowtie, of course. And with if you over optimize for the win rate, which is very typical, because most companies grow up where the acquisition side, marketing and acquisition side, is the most important part in the beginning of a company's lifetime.
That's the commercial function right there.
That's in the beginning. You have to start closing deals, right?
Yes.
But you keep overemphasizing on the left side, and you walk out and show all the logo slides, right?
Yep.
And you forget about, how big are these clients, and have we been able to successfully onboard them and deliver on the impact that we promised on the left side of the Bowtie. And if you don't transition into that type of thinking, you will tap into the world of churn, and you will struggle with growth for a very long time. And actually then marketing and sales and the acquisition side is killing our NRR.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that because we're so focused on hitting our targets.
And we see our win rate is fantastic, and we're closing
all
business. We're hitting our targets. Marketing is
killing it.
Killing it, and marketing is celebrating. Hopefully, sales and marketing are celebrating, and CS is struggling.
Yeah, and it's CS's fault. Why is the churn so high?
Exactly, and we just keep fueling in the wrong types of clients.
And so, when we talk about measuring this, what would you say are the main metrics that help us kind of measure the performance across this funnel? What are the new metrics we should be looking at?
I think when I've been so lucky to come into these companies, I think that very often it's still quite founder-led. You have a few individuals that's closing the majority of revenue because there is no systems in place.
Right.
And that's really also the reason why we had the crash in January 2022, right? Because of the growth at all cost mindset, where everything was spent on growing fast.
What a time to be a marketer, though.
Absolutely, all cash was just thrown on growth to get to the next founding round, right?
Exactly.
And once these companies went public, the requirement is more on profitability, and they're broke because there's no system to scale in place, right? And that's because you have these few fantastic individuals closing a lot that's been super productive, but very little effort has been put into the systems and training people in what works, right? And to integrate that operational discipline and methodological thinking. And that is really what's happening throughout every stage of the Bowtie. That's the processes, right? That's your conversion rates. How productive are we? How can we improve the conversion rates? And then you have the volume metrics across the whole Bowtie and the time metrics. And when I tap in, I see very often a high emphasis on the win rate, on the sales cycle, right? And what is an opportunity, and the cycle from opportunity to closed one. And there's an overemphasis. It's important, but of course we have a lot more KPIs and metrics to measure than that.
Yes.
And it's really kind of the MQL to SQL stage, the top funnel, mid and bottom funnel needs all to be measured just to see that everything works and that we have the handovers working. I think the time metrics is also underestimated. It's a very high emphasis on the sales cycle, but there are time metrics throughout the whole
onboarding, right? Time
to first value is critical.
Yes,
it's
and I've seen some
critical
companies, right, where that time to value is months, and that's obviously going to impact on your revenue. That's going to impact on customer satisfaction. If I pay $20,000 for something, I want to use it.
Exactly. And we're definitely on the ball on the left side of the boat, right? Following up and wanting to close the deal. And I think a lot of clients are holding back in terms of signing because they're a little bit worried. What happens once I get handed over to the next function?
Yes.
And will they be as keen on me being successful with the platform as they were on closing me?
Yes.
Because I know it's a different team taking over in many companies, right? So we really need to show that we are aligned, that everyone can talk about what's happening in the next next stage. So I don't know, and I think on the onboarding phase, that is a super important conversion. I think it's up to the client whether we are fully onboarded and you have the onboarding complete checked off. It's not our process that's deciding whether the onboarding is complete.
Yes,
it's up to the client to tell us if the onboarding is complete.
Great point. I love that.
Right.
And if I could put my marketer's hat on too, and this is something I was very adamant at the last company I was at, is marketing can help that. Right? Marketing should be helping with onboarding. It should be helping with expansion. There's a lot of things marketing can do, but if you're just measuring marketing on SQLs, on win rates, on revenue, that stop once that customer signs, you're not unleashing the full power of marketing to make sure you help with the onboarding, to make sure you help with that time to value.
Yeah.
And that's something I think a lot of companies don't realize. They're not getting their full bang for their buck because they're only measuring marketing up to sign.
Yes.
The signature was received, our job is done.
Yeah. And a lot of companies also stop at renewal, right? That kind of the goal on the client success side is the renewal, and they optimize for the renewal instead of thinking that if you have a more expansion mindset, that our goal is of course expansion. You have a mindset where you want to deliver value as soon as possible and drive adoption as soon as possible so that we can start talking about the next stage in the relationship.
Yes.
Right? But if you're happy with just a renewal, that becomes your outcome. You drive that customer relationship differently.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. So, but if you can't expand the client that's not super happy with what they already bought.
And they're not sticky enough.
Exactly.
To stay. Yeah. Because if they're not adopting you further and further into their systems, then they're easier to churn, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, and I think that the onboarding phase is another discovery phase. You need to kind of, so you need to just continue that continuous process of finding new opportunities and deliver on that impact, because then they trust you, and there's there's no doubt they want to see what other types of problems that they can solve with your platform.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that we've kind of hit the halfway mark, I think listeners at home, you're sold. You need to do the bow tie. You want to do the bow tie. What do people do? How do we, when you go into these organizations to help them improve upon their go-to-market, what's the first thing that they have to do?
So we need to just pull out the data we have. What are we measuring today?
Okay.
Really. So take it out from your CRM, see what's time. Really, the KPIs throughout the bow tie is where you have the timestamps. And then what I'm usually doing is just drawing the bow tie on a whiteboard.
Right.
And pull in marketing, pull in sales, and pull in client success. And then we start talking about what we're measuring. And how do we define it? What is a lead?
Yes.
What is an MQL?
Yeah.
What is an SQL? Or whatever names you have for the KPIs, that's not important, right? That's up to the company. And then you can also, already there, I think that you can see some misalignment, some different languages.
Oh, 100%. I've been in companies where an SQL, SAL was an opportunity, everyone had a different definition.
Yes, so you have to have that common language.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we're seeing what we're measuring. What are we not measuring? Right? Is there any way where we're tracking it that we can translate it into these metrics, that we have the data, we just didn't know that we have it, and then we can see. And then whatever holes we have in our data, we just need to start tracking it going forward. When it comes to the client success set, it's a little bit harder. It's usually not always in the CRM. A lot of the information is with the finance, and you need to figure out where to find that, so we can start mapping, the onboarding, the ratio of clients onboarded and the time metrics for that, the conversion rates between them throughout the whole bow tie. And already there, I think these workshops have just been so engaging and so informative in terms of where we stand. And also really great meeting where these functions are coming together and understanding how everything is really following the customer journey.
Right. Yeah.
And then we need to start defining the KPIs we're missing.
Right.
And how can we align around that definition, so that if marketing generates an MQL, sales needs to agree that it's an MQL, so that they can take that and run with it.
And there has to be an SLA of how long are we going to let this MQL sit, because inbound has to be fast. And there's a lot of things that need to be agreed to achieve that alignment.
So then we're defining the KPIs together, agreeing on that, handshaking before we leave the room on that definition. We're deciding on the time metrics, and we'll see what the conversion rates are. Because that tells us something about where our strengths and weaknesses are right now. And it can help us inform where to invest the most time in terms of processes. How can we increase our productivity? Because within each stage of the Bowtie, we have processes, right? And if you just add input, more leads, more people into your current system, you can just add a lot of problems, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because you can also start scaling what doesn't work.
Yes. Or what we've seen, I know, again, from the marketing hat is we're hitting our MQLs and sales are getting inundated with really bad leads. And that means either they're too busy to look at the good leads, or they just stop looking at inbound, right? Because they're like, it's all crap. We're not going to deal with it. And it just doesn't help anybody. Yeah,
so we did this we did this in one of Verdane's portcos, and it's still a work in progress. I have to tell you, this is the initial workshop, and then we need to go back, and marketing needs to pull out the data, and we need to come back to that workshop again and work together on it. Sorry for that.
Got a message. She's in demand, folks.
So then we need to get into that room and keep working on it. It's super important that we have executive presence on this project, because it's actually leading into a transitional and transformational journey.
Right. Yeah.
We need to look at data in the same way. Finance needs to agree to that, right? Because it's how we look at our data. Absolutely. And how we become truly data-driven in our decision making. So the Bowtie should sit in the revenue plan, in the financial model, right? It's really the heart.
It's not a marketing sales initiative.
No, it's not like something the marketing team are working on right now down in the corner.
There's so many times I've been in situations where come up with the GTM.
Exactly.
You're like,
tell us when it's done.
Yeah, let us know when the GTM is ready.
In the PowerPoint package.
Send us a Slack.
So we have done that in one of the portfolio companies, and it's still work in progress. But what we've seen now is that there is an alignment around the MQLs, for example, but now we see there's a time metric issue. So we're gradually entering into seeing how can we improve, where are the problems, and we can get the teams back into the room and discuss the next step. So that we get that continuous improvement. But once the Bowtie is completed and we've done that work, that is where you can really see to what level do we have a system in place, and where in the Bowtie do we have our weaknesses, and where can we start investing, in terms of prioritization and what's important. And once you have a more standardized Bowtie, meaning that when the data is starting to show very repeatable, predictable numbers, and we can start trusting it, which is very important to Verdane and the investors.
Yes.
Then we can use the Bowtie to model growth.
Okay.
Meaning, so if you have an investor and if you want to start, putting some of your funds into the go-to-market machinery, if we invest in marketing, what effect will that have on the whole system? Right?
Yeah.
So it really helps you model. It can model all, in terms of if we increase our win rate here, what happens in the whole system, not only in that one function.
Yes, and that's where the breaking...
outcome. That is the outcome we want. So in the beginning, it's just the Bowtie, and we call it just a data model. And if you want to build systems and processes, which is so important to set the foundation for scale, you can't do that without a proper data model, because it's the data that tells us whether we have repeatability. It's not gut feeling.
Yeah. Yes.
We feel that it's working.
Yeah.
Because you also risk scaling what doesn't work, right? So it's the data that tells us whether what we are doing is actually working. And it's easy to overemphasize lagging indicators. So like a sales result, that's a lagging indicator. That's the last thing that's happening, like on the commit stage, before the right side of the Bowtie. And that's the sum of a lot of activities, a lot of conversion rates, time metrics, and KPIs, like an orchestra, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy then to conclude that the problem lies where the results land.
Yes.
Right?
Yep,
Instead of backtracking into all the leading indicators, which,
Mm-hmm.
the Bowtie is helping us doing. And maybe you'll see that, the biggest challenges are not in sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually we need to invest more in marketing, whether it's more capacity, whether it's something with the conversion rates there. And that will have such a great effect on maybe an already strong win rate, for example.
Right.
So once we have more pipeline coming into that win rate and that time metric, we can see immediately what effect that has on both on the sales result in the commit stage in the middle of the Bowtie, but also what happens on the client success side.
And maybe this is where I might challenge this a little bit, just because that's my job.
Yeah, of course.
Because in some B2B, it could be 18 months from that first touch to the signing, and then you have to onboard them, and then you have to see them get success. And then, so how long of a timeline? Because in a lot of these companies, it's now go, 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 go. We need to increase revenue. We need to increase customers, whatever that might be. How could a founder or C-level balance the time it would take to optimize this with needing to show results relatively quickly?
That's a really good
That's another
question.
episode.
That's another episode, because everything is urgent, and very often these problems are addressed when it's already a little bit late in terms of urgency. And there's very few problems when it comes to go-to-market strategy that is a quick fix.
Yes, agreed.
And then we're going back to growth at all cost again.
Yeah, it's not just throw more money in Google.
No, and get a new CRO in and think that the person comes in with a magic wand
and everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's you need to be patient and disciplined, and of course take everything in stages. And what the Bowtie is helping us doing is just to prioritize. If we where will we have the biggest impact in terms of our effort first, so that we can start prioritizing. And of course, in terms of the effect all the way down to expansion takes a long time, but you can probably see in terms of your time metric within that conversion phase of the Bowtie, you can see effects quite soon.
Okay.
But in one of the companies I've been helping, we knew that there's 3 months from lead to opportunity. That's one time metric. And then we have 3 months from opportunity to close. So there's 6 months from marketing getting a lead to we can see the effect on the revenue. But you can still follow the conversion rates on the stages throughout that 6 months, right? So you need to look at the leading indicators and understanding whether they are improving in your go-to-market metrics, because they are real-time. They're here now. Maybe you can see that the volume metrics are improving weekly or monthly. So something is going in the right direction, right? And be disciplined and not change your strategy every Monday.
Yes.
Right? So that you have your hypothesis and you're testing that long enough so that you're not changing and pivoting right before you would maybe have an effect, right?
Yes, there's often, jumping around and jumping ship too quickly, I think, is a problem that a lot of scale-ups see. And what's interesting, too, when you're talking about time, and you can optimize for this time. Okay, if it takes us 3 months, let's try to make it 2.5. Let's try to make it 2.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where you can pull product in, right? You can look at the product and you pull in product team and say, hey, look, how do we make this feature better? How do we get people that wow factor sooner, right? And that's where you kind of get into the next level best practice of pulling your product roadmap into your go-to-market strategy, which is probably 100%. Another episode.
Yeah,
as well.
100%. And in the sales process, I think if you have a sales cycle and it's quite established that it takes 3 months, 6 months to close a deal, it's almost like that becomes like an established timeline where the sales team expecting it to take that long. So I have 3 months now to close this deal.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have the next follow-up in 2 weeks. But what if you ask for a meeting tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah.
And have a more compact process? Maybe can we shorten the trial or the POV?
Yeah.
Right. So it's. I think there's micro moments throughout in any process across the Bowtie, and if you can start to finding those, every conversion rate, every time metric, every volume metric, what are the micro moments that are affecting that metric?
I love that.
Right, and we can agree on those micro moments, And we can start talking about how we're managing that today and where we find those improvement areas. And you have the effect of incremental gains, right?
Yes.
If you do something something a little bit differently every day in every meeting, that can have such a fantastic impact on conversion rates, for example, or time metrics within a week, within 2 weeks.
Right.
And you focus on that, those micro moments.
Yeah, it's like baby steps leading to big steps, right?
Yeah,
If
and then
can
you have
optimize-
incremental growth instead of
Yes.
just linear growth, which is the maximum you get. If you just add leads and people, you only get linear growth curve.
Right. Yeah, and that's not what we want.
That's not what we
wanna
want.
see
You want that. So if you get really, really interested into the math of sales and seeing what has the most effect and working on your conversions and your time metrics and your incremental gains and the micro moments, and you follow that in your data, then you have a lot to celebrate.
Definitely. And I think that's another thing of we're getting close to overtime, but I love that idea of there's something we can do now. I really think that sometimes it's a hurry up and wait. Like, this is where we want to be in 6 months. But like, I love that idea of micro moments. If we can optimize little things here and there, if we can just remove this one step to get people that much closer, and then you feel like you can actually have an impact earlier on instead of waiting the 18 months to see if this
and you
customer
align
expands.
around that, the number one metric that has the biggest effect or impact on revenue right now. And we focus on that because if there's another issue, right, is that there's too many initiatives going at the same time.
Yes.
And you need to find that one thing that has the biggest effect right now. And we align around that and we focus on it every day. And we track it and you can see your trend line and see your own. The best benchmark is yourself. You can start mapping the Bowtie and look at your peers and look at benchmarks just to understand where you're on and off the curve. But still, you need to really, really be passionate about following your own trend line to see whether your initiatives are having the effect you want. And then you can start celebrating. I mean, everyone knows that when we close a deal, that's, the moment of big celebrations. But I'm all into celebrating the wins on the way there.
Yep. And this will help you do that.
Yes.
So to wrap up, summarize in one sentence, maybe two, why should someone use a bow tie?
You can't measure the effect of what you're doing if you don't have a data model telling you that. So you need to be truly data-driven. And for you to be able to align sales, marketing, and client success, you need to have that common language around our initiatives and what we're doing to make sure we have effect across the whole revenue life cycle, which is also the client journey that we are so depending on.
Yes, brilliant. And I love the idea of micro moments, optimizing those micro moments. I can do that today, right?
Don't stop, don't limit yourself from doing something that you could do already today and start doing it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this has been great. And you'll be doing a lot more bow tie stuff. People should follow you on LinkedIn if they're not already, because you talk a lot about that on LinkedIn. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.